Luvafoodie iced tea. 4 clean drinking iced tea flavors. Lemon lovers, passion fruit lovers, raspberry lovers, and blood orange lovers iced tea. Eat clean, be well and stay well with our clean eating spice blends at Luvafoodie.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Luvafoodie LinkedIn Live. I'm your host, Michelle Mazzara, and today is Monday, November 21st. Hope everyone's getting ready for a short week, Thanksgiving week, and for all of us in the retail industry, we're hoping for big sales this week, so shop online. Anyway, I have a very special guest. Let me welcome Tina Rexing from T-Rex Monster Cookies. That's right. These are the best cookies ever. This is my favorite, the Snickerdoodle. Welcome, Tina.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure. I don't know how long I've known you. I feel like I've known you a long time. We were in some of the same groups. We live in the same area. And then, I don't know, a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, you opened a retail shop in Eagan.
Yeah, in Eagan, yeah. That's my second shop. My first shop was in Minneapolis. Yep. And then I moved to the burbs.
Yes, and fortunate for me, I get my nails done in the same strip mall, so I can go get cookies after I get my nails done. So Tina, tell us about your brand, your company, how you got started. Lots of people know you in the Twin Cities, but for everyone who doesn't know you, tell us about Tina.
Well, I started the brand about 7.5 years ago. My background's actually in corporate. So I spent a little over 20 years in corporate America in IT and business intelligence. So I'm a nerd at heart. And I used to be a competitive baker. So that's kind of why I went into the baked goods space, because I used to compete at the Minnesota State Fair. And if you know the state fair level of baking, it's very competitive. And so during my competition years, I would test all my ingredients and all my recipes on my corporate colleagues. And they would always ask me, why don't you do this for a living? And my answer was like, you can't make any money doing this. So I hit my mid 40s and I decided to change directions, and I quit my corporate job and I started the company with the full intention of just selling cookies at the Minneapolis Farmers Market. And it kind of grew on its own and it developed a whole life of its own. And I kind of just rode that wave.
So how did you come up with the name?
Well, my name is Tina Rexing. So I was T-Rex cookie before the cookies were large. So fun fact is, when I first started selling cookies at the farmer's market, they were small, like normal size. And then I decided I had tennis elbow. So it was better on my elbows to make the cookies bigger, since I didn't have to use a scooper. And so when I bring the big ones and little ones to market, no one would buy the little ones anymore. And I figured, why don't I just make the big ones? So that's kind of like the myth behind how T-Rex cookie got started, with how big they are.
Well, they're fantastic cookies, everybody. I'm a cookie fan, and Tina has really unusual flavors. This is the Snickerdoodle. I'm kind of a sugar person. Tina, how do you come up with some of the unusual flavors that you have? Because they're very unusual. Tell us some of the flavors.
You know, the most unusual one in the last few days has been our turkey dinner T-Rex cookie, which is basically, we put turkey gravy, cornbread stuffing, and cranberry sauce into a cookie, and it totally worked.
Really?
I think as a small business, I have the luxury of like trying stuff out, and sometimes things don't work. Like, we made a mac and cheese cookie. It was horrible, but at least we know that cooked noodles and a cookie just don't work. But now we know. But we sometimes put it out there to our T-Rex cookie fans and ask for suggestions. And some of them have come up with really good ideas.
So do you have a pumpkin pie or a pecan pie for Thanksgiving?
We do. We have both, actually. So we've kind of grown our TikTok following by quite a bit by doing crazy things. And when we do our pecan pie, if you take a look at TikTok, we actually throw entire pecan pies into the cookie. We do that also with our apple pies and pumpkin pies. We'll throw entire pies into the cookie. And it's just kind of fun to watch videos. People like that ASMR kind of like swirling mix
Right.
kind of situation, and people love that.
And so, Tina, you also have food trucks. So in the Twin Cities, I know are you also involved with the US Bank Stadium?
I am. I am. I'm one of the original vendors at that stadium. So I was there when they first opened, and I was just in the clubs and suites. And in the last couple of years, we sell cookies on the main concourse.
So do you have your own booth
I do at the stadium,
at
and
the
then we
stadium?
also, yep, at the football stadium, I have my own booth, and we are also sold in the Excel Center and the hockey
Hmm.
team, Minnesota Wild. I am a sponsor for the Minnesota Wild, and we're also in the Target Center with the Timberwolves.
Wow. So how did you partner with Airmark, or how did you get into those large stadiums for people out there that have a small boutique business that like popcorn or cookies? How did you get in that space?
Well, I partnered with Aramark early on because they were looking for women and minority businesses to help launch their food program when they first opened the US Bank Stadium. Um, and it's a really difficult step to make as a small business because we're talking volumes. So
Hmm.
companies, the Aramarks, the Delaware Norths of the world,
Hmm.
want to partner with small businesses, but you have to keep in mind that as a small business, you need to be up for doing the volume. My partnership with Airmark was one of the reasons why I launched into my own brick and mortar, because at the time I signed on with the US Bank Stadium, I was actually just baking cookies out of a small commercial kitchen, renting it for like 20 hours a week. So when I brought on Airmark as a customer, I had to, can I swear on this? I can't tell. Can
You
I?
can do whatever you want.
The
I
shit
mean, I
got
don't know. I don't know if anyone's watching from LinkedIn who's gonna like slap my hand. Slap. You can say whatever you want.
well, the shit got real after I signed on with Aramark because I needed to make cookies in volume, so I had to find my own kitchen. Yeah.
So, do you have to staff the those stadium locations, or do they staff them for you?
Well, in the Target Center, the basketball arena, as well as the hockey arena, I sell the cookies to the food company. So
Okay.
to Aramark, and it's not Delaware North; it's another company, Levy. So Levy will buy the cookies, and they would put them in the concession stands. At the Aramark Stadium, at US Bank Stadium, we actually have to staff our own booth on the main concourse.
So every Sunday or anytime there's an event.
Yep. Yep. So
Wow,
yesterday I was there with my staff for all the Vikings games and for coming upcoming concerts.
that's
We
a
will
lot
set
of work, Tina.
it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but you think about it from a marketing standpoint, it's really good brand awareness. And that's as a starting, I guess you could still call me a startup. As a startup, that's the biggest thing is making sure you have brand awareness out there.
Hmm. So you did something pretty exciting this past year. You got into you partnered with Michael Foods. Is it or
I actually my co-packer is Gregory's Foods.
Gregory Foods? Okay.
Gregory's Foods, and this last couple years, I actually launched my frozen cookie dough product, my CPG product, thanks to COVID. Thank you, COVID, for kind of pushing my hand in like, how do we work around this whole COVID situation where my shops can't be open? So we started
Right.
researching on whether or not Michelle can actually bake this cookie in your kitchen. So we started testing it on customers. Like, here, take a bunch of cookie dough, bake it at home, and tell me what you think. And based on that, we launched into the grocery stores just in 2021.
Right, and that's a hard space to get into. I've seen you at Cub Foods.
Hmm.
In your, do you have? I don't know if do you have a package near you that you can show on the. I should have probably given you a heads up. I was going to ask you for that.
I do have a
Um,
package. It looks like
yeah,
this. It's in
yeah,
the frozen, yeah.
yeah, Tina. It really pops in the frozen food shelf. It really does. When I walked by it, I saw it right away. So you have so many unique flavors. What flavors did you launch in that frozen space?
We've launched three. So my signature flavor is the sea salt caramel chocolate chip. And then we launched Monster, which is a peanut butter
Okay.
M&M chocolate chips and oatmeal. And then this last one here is the chocolate chip. It's the most forgiving. We launched this one because it's the most forgiving from a baking perspective, because you can underbake this and it'll be like a lava cake kind of situation. Or
Oh, sure.
if you overbake it, it's a lot more forgiving, and it becomes more like a brownie brittle. So we wanted to put that out there. And when I did,
And so I have, yeah, because I live like so close to your store. Are they monster cookies when you bake them, or are they normal size, small size cookies?
oh, they're large.
They're
They're
large.
yeah. So
Okay.
you get 2 pounds of cookie dough, and each one is preformed to a half-pound cookie puck, and 2 fit on a standard cookie sheet.
Is
And so,
that what this size is?
yes, so that is a half-pound cookie.
Okay.
We don't generally talk about the calorie count on those, on any of them. Um,
They're
but
so good.
yeah, we launched this January 2021 was our first grocery store. It was a Hy-Vee. And then by the end of 2021, we were in a little over 500 grocery
Wow.
stores. And then now we're in a little over 1,000 grocery stores, including
That is
yeah,
excellent.
including 139 Targets.
Wow,
So
Tina.
it's been
Kudos.
it's been a crazy couple years. That's for sure.
That's very impressive. Do you have a distributor?
Yeah, so I'm in about 6 UNFI distribution centers, 1 KeHE distribution center, which is in Romeoville, Illinois, and we are also in 2 Target DCs.
Wow. So, do you have a broker, or who does all the selling for you?
I have 3 brokers. So
Okay.
that's one thing that when I mentor small businesses and they ask about, like, how do I get into the grocery store space?
Mm-hmm.
It's a big ask to get into those spaces because you need to commit a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, and you have to commit a lot of time to try to find the right brokers to help you.
Which brokers are you using? Because I haven't gone the broker route yet. I am, it's just, I need to sign up
Right.
with KE. I think I'm doing that in the beginning of 2023.
Um, I'm with Mid America Marketing, which is an amazing brokerage based here in Minnesota. And I have a couple in Illinois. I'm still in the middle of contract negotiations, so I can't say who they are. And then
Okay.
the CPG is my broker for Target. And
Okay.
honestly, if you want to branch out into the space of grocery, it's almost necessary to get a broker because they speak the language that grocery stores want to hear and need to hear. And they also manage like the item management within like the systems, which I don't have the willingness nor the time to manage items at a
I know.
distribution level.
Right. So, Tina, to all this expansion costs money. You've got salespeople, you've got employees. Did you get investors right away? Because you couldn't possibly self-fund this all, or could you? Maybe you can.
I have actually. So right now I have no investors. I'm the sole owner of the company, and it's been just a lot of finding the right bank to help you out in terms of giving me a line of credit that will help me launch into certain things and having a decent business plan, and surrounding myself with people that do the things I don't want to do. So, for example, I hired a CFO and an accountant and a bookkeeping firm because that's something that takes me away from actually selling.
Right.
I hired a social media manager because I was doing it myself and I just wasn't doing it well. I was doing fine, but in order to get to that next level, you have to be willing to spend the money to hire the people whose jobs, that's their job, is to manage my social media. And that's great.
So you're doing really, really well. I didn't realize you were this far along. I knew you were in a few stores, but I had no idea you were this far. So you're going to be a national brand, like a Mrs. Fields cookies, and that's your goal, I would assume, like to be in Safeway and Publix and
Yeah.
Wegmans and Central Market.
Well, I'm in Dearborgs right now, which is in Missouri. We're in Meyer, about 200 Meyer stores in Illinois. The challenge is I'm doing really well from the brand perspective in Minnesota. And the question is, how do we grow the brand outside of an area where no one knows Tina or T-Rex cookie? How do we get the message of this brand
Right.
to other people? And so, like I said, mentoring folks is like, you need to put yourself out there. You need to take TV appearances when they're offered to you. Just kind of doing those things is key to trying to get that brand out there.
Have you gone to the specialty food shows? The
Not
fancy food
yet.
show?
Not yet. Like Fancy Food Show or Expo West is on my bucket list. But, ever since I launched into the stores I'm in now is the biggest thing, is trying to figure out what the best strategy is, because you don't want to grow too fast without having the reins on the growth. Because if you grow too fast and you're unable to fulfill the velocities that are required by you from the grocery stores, then it's easy to get into the grocery store. It's hard to stay in it, is what I've heard.
So your store in Eagan near me, do you do all the baking there for all the grocery? Oh no, that food. What was it?
Gregory's?
Gregory's does all that for your grocery, right?
Yeah. So 90% of my dough is made by my co-packer. And then my fun flavors, the ones that we say are unusual, we make them out of my one Eagan location. And I have another brick and mortar in Minnetonka, which is across town inside a shopping mall, which incidentally I opened on March 1st, 2020.
Oh, and then did you close on March 15th?
I did. I actually closed on March 14th. 2 weeks later, I had to close my second brick and mortar, but I only to reopen to COVID restrictions. So hopefully this is the 1 year that we can have a normal year inside that shopping mall.
Right. So Gregory's Foods manages then, like, they'll get an order from, say, Hy-Vee, and then they'll produce the packaging and ship it all right to Hy-Vee. Do they do the shipping for you then?
No, actually, we have distributors. UNFI is one of them.
Oh.
He's a distributor. So what I do is, when I get the orders from all these places, we communicate to Gregory's and say, hey, we have an order coming. It's going to get picked up this day. Please have it ready. So that's kind of like our relationship. I also distribute to US Foods, which is a distributor for restaurants. So we're in a little over 50 restaurants right now in the upper Midwest.
Oh, that's cool. With the big cookie.
Yep.
So at a restaurant, somebody would be able to get this for dessert?
Yeah. So there's a few restaurants that actually put that cookie dough into a cast iron skillet and then serve it, and then they serve it as on their dessert program.
Nice. I can't believe you've done all this by yourself. I mean, I've done,
clearly.
right, and you do have children, and you're married.
Mm-hmm. But my children are older. So when I launched the company, my children were teenagers. Now they're 18 and 21. So I'm an empty nester, so I have less guilt when I'm working 24/7.
Does your husband help you?
Only when I make him help me. My husband will tell you that he has a real job. He's actually a data scientist. So we both nerd out on the data world, but he kind of just let me go on my own with the cookie stuff.
Nice. So what advice do you have for people, young women, men, starting out in the food space, trying to do what you've done, and you've done it successfully? Do you have any some advice or key points that have helped you along the way?
I would say, without my corporate background, I don't think this company would be where it's at, just because I have the background of understanding numbers really well. And that's something I challenge a lot of small businesses on, is what are your margins? Do you know how much you're actually making? And to have a really good understanding of the numbers, how much does it really cost to produce this? And what is the right price? A lot of people who are starting out don't pay themselves. And so when they don't pay themselves, the cost of your product does not include your cost of making it. So really have that in the back of your mind when you're setting the cost and prices for your product. Otherwise, you're making cookies and you're selling them, but you're not making any money. So you have to look out for yourself first when it comes to making sure that you're setting the right prices for your product. Another one is you don't necessarily want to go into business unless you love what you're doing. The people who are going into, I'm going to go make X, Y, and Z because I can make a lot of money, is not necessarily the best intention, because customers know that about you then, right? And I guess the last one is have a story with your product, because and my story is on the back of this bag. I even have a cartoon image of me, right? People just want to be, especially this day and age, people want to be connected to what they're eating. And they want to really know, they want to know, like, oh, Tina started out at a farmer's market. I have, if I had a quarter for every time someone would say to me, oh, I remember when it was just you and your mom slinging cookies at the farmer's market, and now I have a store. So people like that story. And when they're really connected to that brand, then they're far more loyal than, oh, I'm just going to buy a pack of granola just because it's on the shelf.
You're 100% true, 100% right. And especially the younger generation, they read the labels, they want to know the story, they want to know the background. I mean, I was just in a Hy-Vee store this past weekend, and customers came up to me, oh, you're the spice lady. Oh, we love this one. We've got garlic lovers. What are you doing now? I mean, people relate to a story. They remember you if you connected with that person or that customer.
Right.
It's that repeat business. It's that repeat referral. That connection is so important. And anyone who's in it for a short fix, a short term, or forget it.
Yeah. And I have an exit strategy at some point. I don't plan to own this company forever. And so, my next, what's next for T-Rex is I'm trying to back myself out of it. I mean, there's a reason why I'm not called Tina's Cookie Company. Being called T-Rex and having an actual mascot, allows me the flexibility at some point to step away from the brand. And hopefully someone will be like, hey, that would be a great brand to be part of our portfolio. I don't know. And if
that's your goal, then, Tina, that's your goal. Is it a 3, 5, or whenever the opportunity hits?
I'd like to say 3 or 5. It's, in terms of growing the brand to a point where, can I franchise it? I don't know. Can we go into other types of product? Maybe. But for me, establishing the right brand messaging, does it speak to adults? Does it speak to kids? Is it the right brand that a company like Mondelez wants to take a look at, or Nestle wants to take a look at, to have just be folded into their portfolio?
Right.
It would be great.
Have you ever done the state fair?
In terms of being in it?
Yeah.
Like selling cookies at the state fair?
Right. Did you say no?
I have applied.
Oh.
But apparently the state fair has enough cookies at the fair that I don't differentiate enough to be allowed in.
Oh, is that what your feedback was?
Yeah, which is fine. Everyone knows that Sweet Martha's owns the state fair. So I don't think I'll ever see a T-Rex cookie stand at the fair. Oh, well.
Yeah, never say never, because her cookies are great, but they're only chocolate chip, correct? And they're in the cone, and they're in the bucket, and they're small. So I think there is a market for you, and I think there's room for T-Rex at the state fair. Okay, state fair people? That's my opinion.
We'll see. We'll see. I won't hold my breath, though.
Yeah. Well, you never know, Tina. I mean, that's the funny thing about doing these shows. You never know what door could open up. And I mean, that's why I do these shows. So I was talking to you a little bit before we started, and I said, how can I get these cookies if I live in California or Michigan or Chicago or Florida, and I'm a consumer and I'm watching this, or I'm connected to Michelle or Tina on this show, because this is going to air other places. How can they get these cookies?
Well, we partner with goldbelly.com. Basically, they're a food company that's online, and we partner with them, and they take orders from people. They'll send us the order, and then we ship it out from our shops. So goldbelly.com. Check it out. We do 5 packs, 10 packs, and we actually have a 5-pound cookie. That's the size of a large pizza.
Oh, wow. And I think, with Christmas coming and Hanukkah and the holidays, the one thing I tell people is everybody has to eat. And there's people out there on your list, or, your employees or whatnot, and you don't know what to get them. These would be making a great employee gift. Look at these, you guys. Especially, Tina, that big one, the 5-pounder. How fun would that be open your door and have that delivered and have it say, thank you for your work this past year.
Right. We do a ton of corporate gifting. So we're on the verge here of our busiest season between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep.
And, we've had a lot of corporations kind of reach out, say, hey, we want to do something different and send cookies to our vendors, our customers, because,
Yep.
Fruit baskets, jam of the month club,
Yep.
not as fun as getting a 5-pound cookie delivered to your door.
Absolutely. I think a 5-pound cookie for anyone who has a family, how fun is that? Break up
Right.
the cookie and share it. Well, I love your cookies. I like to have people on and guests on that I like to consume their products or drink their products. And I am a TRX cookie fan. So everybody watching and listening, I really encourage you, if you don't live in Minnesota and you can't drive to one of Tina's stores, you could buy it to go to GoBelly. And then do they just search T-Rex?
They can look, search T-Rex cookie on Goldbelly. But if you go to our website and check out where to find our cookie dough throughout the upper Midwest. So if you're anywhere, we're as far west as Wyoming and as far east as Washington, D.C., at a few Targets out east. So check out our website, enter in your zip code, and you can find where to find the T-Rex cookie dough in your stores near you.
Okay, and that would also be fun, especially with the holiday cooking season. Not everybody likes to make cookies from scratch, me being one of them. I'm just not a baker, but I like the idea of getting cookies from a frozen bag, putting them on a baking sheet, and putting them out on my cookie plate because it's easy and it tastes great. So, Tina, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience, our guests? I know you have lots of ways that any retailer can get in touch with you because you're with all these distributors. Is there anything else you want to add before we say, let's go back to I have another show I'm doing. Usually I just do one show today, but I'm squeezing somebody else into it in about 45 minutes. So
I think people, the one question I always get is, why are they so big? I did say why they've evolved from little to large. And I always say it's on my bag. It says size matters. And it does. Because,
and it does.
Because the larger the cookie, the longer the shelf life. And it's actually nice because it's a sharing situation with the cookie, especially at the arenas. And people are like, oh, it's at the arenas, it's about $10 a cookie. But, you pay $10 for an ice cream cone. How many people can share an ice cream cone with you? Maybe one other person you want their face on the ice cream cone, but you take one of our large cookies at any of our events and you break them up and share them with people. So they're made for sharing or not. That's totally up to you.
And what I do, because I live alone, I buy one of these big cookies, and because I'm not trying to be a pig every night or whenever I decide to buy them, I break them up and I put them in little baggies and I put them in the freezer. And then when after dinner or when I want a sweet, I just go in and I'm like, okay, Michelle, you can have that one in that baggie because you still have all those other little baggies. Otherwise, I would eat the whole thing because I have very little control when it comes to stuff that I like. And your sugar cookies and your snickerdoodle cookies. I've tried some of the other ones too. They're all fantastic. So I encourage everybody out who's listening, watching, try them. Try them either on GoBelly or in the stores if you're in Minnesota or in the retail stores like Tina said where you can find them. Tina, happy Thanksgiving. I probably won't be trying the turkey one.
Oh, come on.
Is it in the store right now?
It will be in the store this Thursday. Actually, we're closed Thursday for Thanksgiving, but we're open on Wednesday, and I can save one for you.
It sounds interesting. Does it have like chunks of turkey in it and chunks of mashed potatoes and chunks of cranberry?
No. It basically smells and tastes like turkey gravy.
Okay.
With cranberries in it, as well as a cornbread stuffing. So it's actually pretty good. I mean,
is it sweet?
It's kind of like cornbread. It's more like a cornbread base. And we make like a bunch of other like savory-ish cookies too. But it's, you can always say you've tried it.
Right. And you know what? It would be fun to bring to somebody's house. If you're a guest at somebody's house this year for Thanksgiving, that's kind of a fun, if nothing else, you can all talk about it and share it.
Exactly.
So, well, it's been a pleasure having you on my show today. I am very impressed with how far you've gotten, and I wish you continued success, and hope to see you in every store, and continue to follow you as I do.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Appreciate it.